Dear students, in the previous class we have discussed about different types of tissues like connective tissue we have discussed. In today's topic we will be discussing about after connective tissue it is muscular tissue. Right? Muscular tissue. The characteristics of muscular tissue are clear. They are made up of muscles. All other tissues so far what we have discussed, that is epithelial tissue, fine, connective tissue and different types of connective tissue, all those tissues are made up of cells. Whereas here these tissues, this tissue, muscular tissue is made up of muscles. Here you don't come across cells. Clear? These are like fiber-like structures. Hence we refer them as muscle fibers. What they refer as? Muscle fibers. So here we don't come across cells, but they are like cells only. They are like cells but not cells. The reason here is, why I am telling you that they are like cells, because they contain cytoplasm, that is known as sarcoplasm, and the cell membrane is known as sarcolemma, whereas they also contain nucleus. So these are the characteristics of cells having cytoplasm, what we refer as sarcoplasm, sarcolemma, the membrane, and the nucleus. Possessing nucleus is a characteristic of cell, but these muscle fibers do not undergo any cell division. So they don't undergo division, which is the main characteristic of cell. So as the age of the person increases, the size increases, the girth increases, length increases, height and weight increases, these muscle cells undergo growth and development. They grow and develop, whereas they do not undergo any type of cell division. Hence we don't consider them as cells and we call them as muscle fibers. The cytoplasm is known as sarcoplasm. The cell membrane is known as sarcoplasm, and the nucleus. Clear? The study of muscles, myology, and they contain fibers. The study of movements. So what are meant? Muscles are meant for movements in the body. What's happening here is movement. Now this is known as lip movement or tongue movement. Clear? This is hand movement or wrist movement, fingers movement. So this is what is known as movements. Movements takes place in our body. All muscles are responsible for movements and for contraction and relaxation. All these are occur in the body due to muscles. When we walk, when we run, it is known as locomotion. What is known as locomotion? There also muscles come into act. Because of the muscles only, movements takes place, movement shift takes place, movements of the body parts takes place, that leads to locomotion of the body. I hope it's clear. Fine. The study of movements is known as kinesiology. Clear? Whereas the study of muscles is known as myology. Clear? So they are fiber-like structures. So basically there are three types of muscles. One is known as smooth muscle. What is it? Smooth muscles. The other is straighted muscles, and third one is known as cardiac muscles. What muscles? Cardiac muscles. Right? Let us study them as like differences so that it will make our study very easier. Like comparative study, if we study, it will be very easier also. And if any differences are been asked, so it will be easier for you. And in these differences, point wise, we can cover all the topic. Clear? So smooth muscles, why they are known as smooth muscles? Because they don't have striations. They don't have any striations. Clear? Hence they are also known as unstriped muscles. What muscles? Unstriped muscles. Smooth muscle fibers. Clear? The size and shape of these are, they are spindle shaped. What shape? They are spindle shaped like this. They are spindle shaped. Right? And both the ends are pointed. They are spindle shaped. Right? S shape or spindle shaped in structure. Clear? The next point is when they are uninucleated. What they are? They have only a single nucleus. They are uninucleated, having a single nucleus. Where? In the center. Uninucleated, present in the center. The nucleus is found present in the center. Clear? Understand? Spindle shape, uninucleated. Clear? Then they don't have bands, they don't have striations. Striations and light bands, what we commonly call. So here we don't come across such bands. There are no striations, there are no bands here. Then there are no intercalated discs. Intercalated discs are absent. Intercalated discs are absent. Clear? Then they are involuntary. What do you mean by that? Involuntary. They are not under the control of central nervous system. We can't control their movements. We can't control their contraction, relaxation, expansion. Expansion sometimes rarely few. So we can't control their movements. Why? Because they are involuntary. They do their work, they perform their function on their own whenever, wherever it is required in the body, in the organs, in the organ system. They exhibit their function, they perform their function, they do their work irrespective of the order from the central nervous system. They are involuntary in their function. Central nervous system is not controlling these muscles, hence we call them as involuntary. Next point, same thing is right. They are not under the control of central nervous system. Are not under the control of. They are not under the control of CNS, central nervous system. They are not under the control of central nervous system or CNS. Clear? Very important point. Distinguishing feature is they do not undergo fatigue. They do not undergo fatigue. They don't suffer fatigue. They do not suffer fatigue. What do you mean by fatigue? Fine. Clear. Fatigue refers to becoming stressed or tired or exhausted after some amount of work, some part of work. If these muscles are tired, if you feel pain in the muscles, that is the fatigueness or fatigue due to the lack of ions or continuous work. Fine. Exhaustion, stress, tiredness, what is referred as fatigue. These muscles, since they are not under the control of central nervous system, they do not suffer fatigue. They don't get tired. As long as their function is concerned, they keep on performing their function. Clear? So after that, now these are the main points of the smooth muscles. One is they are spindle in shape, fine, pointed, spindle in shape, and we can write as they are pointed at both ends. They are pointed. They have a single nucleus, uninucleated. Nucleus is found present in the center. After that, they don't have striations, bands are absent. Then there are no intercalated discs. Then they are involuntary muscles. They are not under the control of central nervous system. They do not suffer fatigue. All these points. After the last 2 points are, one is location, other is function. Where they are found present, what function they exhibit. Location and function. Last 2 points. Location. They are found present in the stomach. They are found present in the stomach and intestine, small intestine particularly. They are found present in the stomach and intestine. Where they are located in the body? Stomach. And other place is intestine. So what they do? They bring about movements. What they bring? They bring about movements. Now, in the stomach, during the digestion takes place in the stomach, they bring about peristaltic movements. In digestion chapter also you might have come across this terminology. Over there also we might have explained you what you mean by peristalsis. The movement that takes place in the stomach due to the presence of smooth muscles in order to mix the food during partial digestion, to mix the food along with the gastric juice or HCl. Such movements are brought about by involuntary muscles in the stomach. So in the stomach they bring about peristaltic movement. In the small intestine they bring about segmentation movement. What do you mean by segmentation movement? The movement that takes place in the small intestine during the completion of the digestion, where a part by part of the small intestine keep on moving. Small intestine is a very large intestine, but we call it as small intestine because the lumen is narrow. Hence we call it as small intestine, but small intestine is not small. Fine, it's large in fact. Fine. But in the small intestine, what they bring about? They bring about what movements? Segmentation movements. What movements? Segmentation. What do you mean by that? Part by part, one part after the other. Complete small intestine will not move at a time at all. No. What? Segmentation. Part by part. Part by part. For example, if you might have seen the long screen on a stage, if you hold this screen on one end, give a strong jerk, So that moves like a wave, moves like a wave, like a wave. So like that movements takes place in the small intestine. Such movements are referred as what? Segmentation movements. They are the functions of smooth muscle. Segmentation movement and peristaltic movement. Peristaltic movement and segmentation movement respectively takes place in the stomach and the intestine. Next, striated. As the name says, striated. Yes. Okay. Fine. Now they are cylindrical in shape. What in shape? They are cylindrical in structure. Cylindrical in structure. Understand? They are multinucleated. What they are? Multinucleated. They are multinucleated. Right? Many nucleus. We have told it is in smooth muscles and smooth muscles uninucleated and nucleus is found present at the center. But here they are multinucleated. Nucleus is found present at the periphery. Where it is? At the periphery, at the sides of the muscle fiber, and the walls of the muscle fiber, near their ends, boundaries, periphery, clear, peripheral in position. Many nucleus are found present, multinucleated, multinucleated. Then dark and light bands. What bands? Dark and light bands. Clear? Isotropic and anisotropic bands. We call them as A bands and I bands also. But commonly dark and light bands are present alternately. Alternately you find the presence of dark and light bands. And in dark and light bands, so they have striations, they have bands. What they have? Bands. Striation. Hence the name referred as striated muscles. Clear? Intercalated discs again are absent here. Intercalated discs are absent. Absent. Clear? Then they are voluntary muscles. What muscles? Voluntary muscles. What do you mean by that? You can control based on your wish, based on your will. Whenever you feel like, wherever you want, you can move these muscles, you can use them. They are under the control of central nervous system. They are under your control. Hence, they are referred as what type of muscles? Voluntary muscles. Voluntarily, you can use these muscles. Fine? Clear? So, hence they are as voluntary muscles. So, they are under the control of, central nervous system. They are under the control of central nervous system. They do suffer fatigue. They suffer fatigue. They undergo fatigue. They suffer fatigue. What do you mean by that? Fatigue. Some people say fatigue. Fatigue. What do you mean by that? They become tired. What they become? Tired. They become stressed. They become exhausted. Like for example, for students, the best example, when you are writing an examination continuously half an hour, 45 minutes you have written the exam. After that you feel pain in your hand. You give a little bit of relaxation. You change the movements. You press your hand like this. These muscles, particularly these muscles, fine. These muscles, fine. Here, these muscles, particularly these muscles, upper muscles, fine. Pain occurs. You give a jerk like this, or you feel like this, or you leave it, or you press. So what are you doing? You are relaxing the muscles. You are relaxing the muscle. Why? Because they are fatigued. Continuously they have worked. They are undergone stress now. They are fatigued. Fine. They are suffering fatigue. They are under stress now. They are exhausted. So you give them a little bit of relief, some gap. What happens here? They regain the ions. Blood circulation takes place. They again get back the energy and again ready for work. Fine. So now I showed you where they are. Now location, where they are present in limbs, hands and legs. In limbs, hands and forelimbs and hind limbs. Forelimbs and hind limbs. They help in movements, locomotion. Clear? Fine. For holding certain things. Fine. For writing, for eating, all this. What are action? What action is taking place? Muscles for contraction, relaxation, relaxation. Right? So these muscles are present. Fine. They are what type of? They are cylindrical. What they are? Cylindrical. Multinucleated. Many nucleus are found present. Where they are found present? At the periphery. Where? At the ends. Sarcoplasm. Many nucleus are there. They are cylindrical. What they are? Cylindrical. They are like tubular in structure. Cylindrical in structure. Clear? Any doubts? Now moving on to cardiac muscles. They are also cylindrical muscles. What muscles? Cylindrical. But they are branched. What they are? Branched. We can add one more point here. Unbranched. Here unbranched. Here also unbranched. Here also unbranched. Clear? because they are not branched. Whereas only cardiac muscles, what we commonly call them as heart muscles, cardiac muscles are highly branched. They are branched and they also form what? Network-like structure. Network-like structure. Why? Because they are branched. What they are? They are branched. They form network-like structure. Then they are multinucleated. What they are? Multinucleated. Nucleus is found present at the center. One characteristic is of smooth muscles. One characteristic is of straightened muscles. It's a mixture, combination of both these. Here, single nucleus at the center. Here, multinucleus at the periphery. So they have multinucleated but center. Mixture of this. Don't get confused. Right? Multinucleated at the center. Now here, very important point, distinguishing characteristic. Presence of intercalated discs. Intercalated discs are present. What are present? Intercalated discs are present. In between the two cells, like for example, fine. If this is one cell, fine. Here's branching. Clear? One nucleus here, other nucleus here. So in between here there is an intercalated disc. What are that? Intercalated discs are there. In between means in the muscle fiber itself, here and there are intercalated discs which gives firm nature to the rigidity to this cardiac muscles. Next, they are involuntary. What they are? Involuntary. We cannot control our own heartbeat. Can you control? No, it increases when you fear, right? When you fear, right? When you are in a hurry, increases. When you see somebody means your father or your elders or your grandparents or principal or sir, lecturer. Clear? When you see somebody, heartbeat increases. It is not under your own control. Your heart is not in your own control. So you cannot control your heartbeat. Why? Because the muscles are what? Muscles are involuntary. They are not under the control of central nervous system. They do not fatigue. Clear? They constantly responsible for heartbeat, contraction and relaxation. This is contraction, this is relaxation. Contraction, relaxation. Lub, dub, heartbeat. It is responsible. These muscles are responsible. Whatever you be doing, heartbeat is going on. Right? You are reading, heart is beating. Writing, heart is beating. Eating, heart is beating. Sleeping, heart is beating. Running, heart is beating. Clear? Walking, heart is beating. Clear? It's not a poem. It's a function of heart. So whatever you do, heart is working. Heart don't take rest. Body takes rest. Part of the brain takes rest. Heart do not take rest. If heart take rest, body will rest in peace. So heart do not take rest from birth to death. More specifically speaking, even before birth also the heartbeat starts. Okay, let's consider from birth to death, beats are going on, heartbeats are going on. When you are young, heartbeats are more, 84, 86 in your children. As you grow up, adult, 72 per minute, 72 times per minute. As you grow up, as you become older, as the age increases, heartbeat decreases and then stops. Clear? Heartbeat stops. So they are responsible. When they are found present, they are found present in human heart, right? And they are responsible for contraction and relaxation and constant rhythmic heartbeat. I hope it's clear. Understand? Now, after that, we'll move on to next tissue. There is nervous tissue. If we complete this tissue today, right? We can start the organ system in the next class. I hope it's clear. Right? You also make a note of it. Right? Study material is given to you. Study there. Right? This is where is origin? I have already told you. Origin is from mesoderm. Clear? Muscular tissue. I have already given the chat. That will simplify your notes. This difference also If you refer this, read this like this, it will be easier. Fine. It will be short and complete. Next tissue is nervous tissue. What tissue? Nervous tissue. Nervous tissue. Nervous tissue or nerve tissue. Right? It is ectodermal in origin. Very highly specialized tissue found present only in the nervous system, in the brain and spinal cord. Clear? Only in the nervous system, nervous tissue. Clear? Fine. It is a very special type of tissue. Clear? Understand? One diagram we have to draw here. That is neuron. Before that, nervous system is made up of neurons. What is neuron? Structural and functional unit of nervous system. And this tissue is responsible for controlling, coordinating, cooperating, communicating with other organs. And this tissue is responsible for the controlling and coordinating of the complete body. Because nervous system is made up of nervous tissue. Nervous tissue consists of neurons. Unipolar neuron, which you come across in case of lower animals. Bipolar neurons, fine, in eyes. Multipolar neuron, clear. You might have studied this in your lower class also. The structure of neuron, clear. We'll draw a rough diagram of neuron, clear. Clear? Fine. Clear? Fine. One is known as cytosol, the cell body is known as axon. Mainly it is made up of two components. One is cell body is known as cytosol, the other fiber is known as axon. Clear? Then here this branch, telodendrites, synaptic knobs, neural lemma sheath, binding sheath, nodes of Ranvier, will label. Clear? This part is known as cyton. What is known as cyton? Cyton. This is known as axon. Then they are known as dendrites. What they are known as? Dendrites. Right? Nucleus. Tigroid bodies. Axon hillock. Then nodes of Ranvier. Swan cells. Clear? Myelin sheath. If myelin sheath is present, then it is known as myelinated neuron. If myelin sheath is absent, non-myelinated neuron. Then one more. Neurolemma sheath. Clear? Then telodendrites. Last part. Dendrites. They are known as, these knobs are known as synaptic knobs. Right? Dendrites. Clear? Tigroid bodies, cytosol, nucleus, cells. Right? Clear? Okay. Then. So here the nervous tissue consists of a structural and functional unit of nervous system is known as neuron. So this is the structure of neuron. The body is known as cyton, cell body is known as cyton. The cyton consists of finger-like portions called dendrites. It encloses neuroplasm. Neuroplasm encloses a nucleus. Around the nucleus you have tigroid bodies. They are also known as Nissl granules. What they are known as? Nissl granules. They are responsible for conduction. Then it has an elongated part, multipolar, right? This part is known as axon. What is known as axon? Here there will be a bulged structure called axon hillock, from where the axon starts. Axon consists of different types. The external is covered by different types of cells known as Schwann cells. Schwann shield that you might have heard. Schwann cells, nucleus of the Schwann cell you have to label, one more nucleus of Schwann cells. In between two consecutive Schwann cells, there is a gap. This gap is known as nodes of Ranvier. Nodes of Ranvier. Ranvier has to find out that nodes of Ranvier. Then sheath is known as myelin sheath. Then neuroderma sheath. Then they have pterodendrites, branch-like structure, pterodendrites. They ends with synaptic knobs, end bulbs. They are also known as end bulbs or synaptic knobs. For example, if this is one neuron, this is cyton, this is axon. So one cyton, one dendrites here. These dendrites of one neuron and the telodendrites of other. They will be like this. These are the dendrites of this neuron, telodendrites of this. Like this they are arranged. In order to pass the message. Now what is the function? The function of nervous system is to convey message, fine, to collect the stimulus and to give the response. One is collection of the stimulus from all the sense organs. It sends a message towards the central nervous system, that is stimulus. From the message, the answer is sent, reaction is sent, action, stimulus, reaction is known as response. So from stimulus is carried by sensory nerves and the response is carried by sensory nerves, motor nerves. What nerves? Motor nerves. Fine. Response is carried by motor nerves. Stimulus is taken away towards the brain by sensory nerves. From the brain, the message comes to different organs by motor nerves. That is known as response. So this is the function of nervous system, to collect the stimulus, pass on to central nervous system. From central nervous system, what is response comes from the brain to pass on to other parts of the body through motor nerves. Then also it communicates, it coordinates, it cooperates, and it gives order, control the whole system, whole body. This is what is known as nervous system, nervous tissue. This tissue again you study here in the 21st chapter also. So here we have completed tissue part, the first part of the 7th chapter, structural organization in animals. The first part is histology. In the next class we will continue organ system, about earthworm, frog, briefly about cockroach. Keep studying. God bless you. Good luck. Take care.